Hello, Renee Flamont here. You guys, this week's off topic is something that I hear people are judged for all the time. All the time. Especially those that decide not to have children. You've all heard it. Maybe you've even done it innocently. So, when are you going to have children? Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. Last week's topic, what to do once you have children, whether you're a stay-at-home mother or a working mother or father, either one. But what if you are a person that decides that they don't want children at all? I do hear so much judgment in this area. People go hard at those that don't have children. They go so far as to impose their belief upon that person that they must not be happy. Their lives aren't happy. Their lives aren't fulfilled, especially if it's somebody that's had the joy of parenting. Now, I understand where someone's coming from. You've had an illustrious experience of parenting and you want to make sure that they experience it. But not everyone wants to be a parent. And a lot of it, I think, is connected to purpose. Yours, your own purpose. If you're driven, for example, because you're a fine whatever you are, teaching is your gift, being a doctor is your gift, being a singer is your gift. I don't care what it is. But if you're driven by that, and you're fine with whatever you're doing and you're happy in your life, then that's your purpose. For some of us, our purpose was motherhood once we decided that. I changed my mind. I don't think my husband and I talked about having children very much at all. In fact, I think we were like, we're not going to have them. We were together about 4 years before we got married. And then about a year into our marriage, we decided, you know what? Let's do it. Let's try. Let's have a child. And we were blessed. But it was a transition for me. When I wasn't someone that thought they wanted children, it was pretty annoying that people would try to argue with you if you say, no, I don't want children. I have very many friends, who, female and male, who don't have children. They opted not to. They didn't want them. They seem very happy to me. Now, might it be that perhaps one day there could be a person who regrets their decision not to have a child? Sure, but I would rather have them have that longing of something they decided not to do than be someone who had a child and regrets having them. We've all known bad parents. Don't tell me you haven't. I've known people to give up their kids. Now, maybe that person, now I'm glad they had their kids. Of course I am. I know those kids. But might they be a person who maybe in another dimension would have been the person who maybe didn't choose to have kids? Is it such a tragedy when you see that they're a bad parent? I don't think that's better, that they had their kids, they have these horrible relationships with their children, they were an awful parent, but, well, at least they had their kids. What? What about the kids? You're bringing creatures into the earth. They didn't ask to be born. They didn't ask to be born. You had them. And now you're going to bestow upon them having horrible parents? Becoming a parent is a gift. In whatever way you become a parent, whether you have your child, adopt your child, take guardianship of a foster child, I don't care. That's your child, right? It's all equal. It's all equal. That's your child. So when that happens and you are in that relationship and you understand that and you wanted it, or even if it was a surprise for some people and then it turned you around and now you decide this is all I want in life. You can find your purpose by accident. Of course you can. But is it better to wish that every single person becomes a parent because we're trying to impose upon them that they must not be happy? I know very many people that don't have children and they can't picture the late nights and all that's involved. They are very perfectly fine without it. very much perfectly fine without it. And many people that don't have children can't understand those of us that do. They can't understand. What do you mean you can't just commit to that? Why can't you just say yes now? It's a concert, Renee. You have to decide. Well, then my decision is no. You know why? Because when you're a parent, you can't plan 6 months ahead. You can't. You don't know what direction, what's going to happen, if your child needs you, if there's a function that comes up for them, if you need to be a driver for them, a chauffeur, a blah, blah, blah. You don't know. And what makes me laugh about to have children or not, or the people without children with, they don't understand that when you are a parent, and I'm sorry, I don't care what business you own, I don't care how many you own, I don't care if they're from this time zone all the way to Japan. You do not know the moment that a 5-year-old shows up at your bedside at 3 a.m. because they don't feel well. And I don't care what you had that day. I don't care what you have in the morning. I don't care how much you've been through in the last week with your company. Your vacation was just starting. But it doesn't matter. That 5-year-old comes to your bedside at 3 a.m. You have to summons every ounce in you, even if you yourself aren't feeling well. Happens all over the world all the time. And I'm sorry if you are a storm is rolling in. I don't know if you can tell, it's getting dark on me. If you are a non-parent, you just don't get that. Well, I work 24/7. I know what it's like to be available. I had this conversation with somebody once. I said, yeah, and when you're done, can you turn your phone off? Well, that's not can you turn your phone, which to me the answer is yes. Because even if you are in the market and you're talking about time changes, stock market overseas is different. I don't care. The most that'll happen if you leave your phone off is you'll lose money. That's the worst case scenario. So unless you're a neurosurgeon or some kind of surgeon waiting on news that organs were delivered, you can turn your phone off. Guess when you can't turn your phone off? When you're a parent. There's no turning anything off ever. And some people make the decision not to have that in their life. I don't blame them. It's not an easy choice to make, and it shouldn't be. It was with great consideration I changed my mind. My husband, same thing. And parenting is hard. And people that sneeze at the stay-at-home mother versus the working mother have no idea, especially if they're not parents, what you have to summons if you have siblings that are fighting. I have one child, but I've watched it. It's unnerving to the adult, especially when they're around other people. A person that doesn't want children can't picture that in their lives. A person that doesn't want children can't picture being in a restaurant and having kids run all around. That's why they hate the kids that are running all around. Because they're sitting there saying, if we did have children, I would never allow them to do that. Can you hear the thunder? We would never have those children. That's a judgment that comes out of a lot of non-parents, right? I said that. Well, in the restaurant, I didn't have that child because in my family, my mother worked in restaurants. And we would have gotten a beating within an inch of our life if we misbehaved in a restaurant. 1, 2, 3, napkin on your knee. May I be excused for the restroom? You come back. You don't run around. You're not in the aisle. No, never in a million years. So I don't understand that behavior either. But what I won't do is pass judgment. I don't know what those parents, they might just be spent. They might have just wanted to get a bite to eat, and those kids are wearing them out today, and they're like, you know what? I don't have it in me to stop them from running in the aisle. I don't know what goes on, but nobody does. You don't know what that kind of day that person had. And you know another thing, when it comes to non-parenting versus parenting, you really do know everything up until you're a parent. I wrote an article once that said, I forget the title now. I knew everything there was to be a parent, and then I had one. And then something happened. I became one. Something like that. because you really do have the judgment of how your kids wouldn't do that and would do this and would play violin and speak 2 languages or 5 languages and study math and science and not run around the restaurant and not scream in the line at Disney World. Guess what? They're children. They're going to act like children. Now, how you handle it as an adult is how you parent. And this isn't a how-to parent video, but this is people that decide they don't want children look at that and say, oh, God, no. And they feel very good in their decision. And I just feel like we're so hard on those people that decide they don't want children. I am a parent, blissfully, and I understand the decision to not have children. I know many people that come and go like it's nothing. They come and go as they please, right? Well, you can do that. Guess what? That's a luxury they have because they didn't have children. No judgment against them for coming and going. That's one of the benefits that you can do when you don't have children. Now, if you became a parent and you're coming and going and leaving your kids behind, I've known those people too. I'll reserve my statements. I think if you become a parent, you need to parent. That's just me. Call me crazy, but that's how I feel when it comes to that topic. I feel that if you've decided your purpose, your decision is motherhood, you feel that when that happens, right? Or if you became upon one accidentally and hopefully you did a 180 and you didn't want them before, hopefully you do a 180 and you feel it. The strength that you have to muster without warning is something a non-parent could never understand. I just can't stress that enough. And people that decide not to have children, they can break from work. Very, very seldom is there any job that you can tell me that the person could not break from work. And if they can't, then they need to make an adjustment in their lives. Because everyone can take a vacation away. Everyone can take a vacation away. And people do take vacations away. Now, if you're a parent, say, and you take a vacation away, and you get a phone call, God forbid, so-and-so has I'm coming home. I'm coming home. The only thing that would make a non-parent come home is if there was some problem with their job, their business. You know what I mean? But they can stay. When you book a month trip to Italy, you can pretty much bet nothing's going to bother you. You can be in Italy for a month. When you're a parent, I don't care how old the child is. I will never again feel that I'm not ready to move in 2 seconds flat if I'm needed. I don't know if that pops up, like a little banner went down. I'm going to pay attention to that, but that's what I do when I do that. But I will never be able to feel like, I hope I always can. And I've had blessed luck. Everyone's healthy and happy around me. All good health is what you want, right? But when you're a parent, part of you is always where your child is. And if they need you, I would go, period. I don't know very many parents that even feel like that. They go away, they're fine. They're fine. I know parents like that. They'll be fine. And they are. But what if something happens? My point is, it's a completely different purpose that you decide for yourself. And the person that doesn't have children is adding things to the earth that maybe the person with children is not. My addition to the earth is I created a remarkable human. I raised a remarkable human. My husband and I are very proud of the person that she is. So to me, no, I'm not a great surgeon. I'm not changing lives in the courtroom. I'm not a policeman calling to order as a judge. I know friends in all these different capacities. Teacher, is my favorite. I'm not adding to the world that way. But this person over here that chose career over child is. And what a value they're giving into society. What a value. We need these people. We can't all choose that our purpose is parenting. We would have nothing, all of the things, all the people you might know in your life, think of it. They might be perfectly happy without children. And it's a travesty if somebody wants them and doesn't end up with them or can't have them or whatever. And I hope in those cases people do go to adopt. I believe in it. The people close to me that are adopted, I believe in it 100%. So in whichever way you become a parent, that's a blessing. But if you've decided that you don't want them, maybe leave that person alone. Maybe they wouldn't have been a good parent and they know it. Or maybe they would be a great parent, but they're saving their energy to do other things. Oprah famously never became a parent. That woman's added more goodness to the earth than many living beings I can think of right now. You watch her last show, they brought out like 400 men throughout the years that scholarship she had, sent these men to college, or guidance she gave them, landed them in good marriages, or blah, blah, blah. That is touching the earth. That's what she added. That's her gift. That was her purpose. And she knew it and she felt it and she's talked about it. So what if we had somebody like Oprah who did become a mother? Then what? Maybe her focus would have changed. All those men, what would have happened? Maybe they would have found their way. Maybe not. I find this fascinating. I think of these topics all the time. I just wanted to share this with you. It's a very interesting off-topic Friday, but I asked you to give it some thought because I'm trying for everybody to not pass as much judgment onto each other about all these little things in life. And if we learn to realize that person might be happy, or they might be exactly where they were meant to be, or your path might be what you're meant to be. And if we ease up on ourselves, I have zero, like, oh, I should have been this or I should have been that. I'm okay with my path. That judgment can happen too. Well, don't you miss not having a career? Don't you would have loved to have gone to law school? And yep, I don't miss having a career, but yeah, I would have loved to go to law school. That was a decision that happened long before I became a mother. I wasn't a mother till almost 33. So, I mean, I got married at 30. That's an older marriage for most, compared to most of the people that I knew. So that decision was, I looked into it a little bit after that, but for the most part, I had made that decision, right? So the thing is, do I miss it? I don't think I could have done both well. That's just me. So I made the decision that my purpose was the motherhood. I could have done both, yeah, sure, but I probably would have been miserable, stressed out, and failing horribly at both. Or not doing my full potential. Some people can do it all. Hats off to them. They can have a job, they can have children, they can have a husband, these are superhuman people. But let's not judge each other. Whatever choice we make is our own, and there can be power and empowerment in both positions. Somebody's not lesser than because they don't have a career and they went the way of children. Somebody's not more than because they have a career and children. It's whatever purpose you decide for yourself. You give it your all, you're adding to society. That's it. And your potential or stamina might not be the same as the next person. I know mine isn't. I have a girlfriend who's a doctor with 3 kids. Superhuman, in my opinion. Superhuman. I would definitely have had to choose one or the other. So let's ease up on each other. We're all different, and we're all adding things the best way that we can. Thank you for joining me this Off Topic Friday. Please go ahead and hit sub, like, and share. And have a good weekend. I'll see you next time.